Live 73. Daily Live 73. Hello, Internet. Oh, that was gross. Let's go. How are we doing this Friday afternoon? Happy Friday. We had our first coaching call meeting session for the 90-day creator challenge. And I'm so excited. Everybody's talked about their goals, their fears, and we shared our commitments to the world. I want to shout out my buddy Jose, who's doing the challenge. He had a goal about writing and sharing music, and he said between this number and this number of songs written. And then Derek said, he said, can you pick a number? And Jose picked a number, and it lit the whole room up when he said, this is the number of songs I'm going to have written and released. It's like, yes. And it's a good reminder to set a goal that's very specific. They have that phrase, the SMART goal: specific, actionable, measurable, et cetera, et cetera. But I think just specifically saying, I'm going to do this. And I think we shield ourselves from scrutiny by being vague. So I want to do a show at the end of the summer for 500 people. That's my goal. And that's harder to say than a show at the end of the summer for 250 to 750 people. That's easier to say because it's the definition of success is blurrier on it. And then I could only have 240 people show up and say, oh, that's almost 250 people. That's a win. But when it's 500, that it's very clear. You either got 500 people to show up or you didn't. And it's scary. That level of commitment is scary, but scary isn't bad. If you've been watching, I've been talking about the scary place and just how fear is maybe not as bad as we think it is. Fear might actually be a tool to show us that we're doing the thing we really want to do. And what we have labeled as fear, the emotions that we associate with fear, might actually be excitement. And when you're doing something that's scary, maybe it's the thing you've really wanted to do all along. It's what you wanted to do all along, kiddo. So I'm calling this Be Unreasonable / Small Steps, because those were two things that I'm present to this morning. So first, be unreasonable. What I like about the phrase be unreasonable is it sounds bad at first to be unreasonable. Everybody wants to be reasonable. But when you maybe set aside the judgment of that sounds bad and then think about it some more, when I set aside the judgment, think about it some more, a few things come up. First, I realize nobody ever has success and really gets what they want in life from being reasonable. This is a pretty unreasonable thing, but in the John Maxwell book, he was talking about Harriet Tubman, and it's like Harriet Tubman was unreasonable. Apparently, in this book, she would literally, when she was taking people through the Underground Railroad, if people were starting to chicken out and wanting to go back, she would hold a gun to their head and say, dead men tell no tales. And she didn't let slaves who she was helping escape to the north, she didn't let them go back. She was unreasonable. She was so unreasonable, she would literally hold a gun to your head to get you to commit to escaping to the north. Do you think anybody today is saying, oh, Harriet Tubman shouldn't have done that? She was being unreasonable. She only was able to be etched into American history as a hero, as a visionary, as a leader, because she was unreasonable. And I think being reasonable is something we tell ourselves to do that actually blocks us from doing the thing we want to do, because the thing you want to do is probably unreasonable. It's unreasonable when somebody quits their job to go pursue something else. There's so many things in life that we might label as unreasonable when they're actually the exact thing you need to do to get done what you want to get done. Just yesterday, I called my contact I know at Epiphany Center for the Arts. I talked about this yesterday, but I called him and I said, hey, I want to bring my band in. And he said, great, send me an email. I'll get you in contact with the right people. And today I looked up the Chop Shop contact and I emailed them too, because I don't know which venue is going to say yes, but I figure in my 90-day challenge, if I can email a venue today, if I can keep emailing venues that seem like they fit the size requirements of a 500-person show, that will get me closer to it. I guess I want to share that being unreasonable, we think being unreasonable is like, or being reasonable is other people's considerations, but that's actually your consideration, where to me, it feels unreasonable to call a venue that holds 500 people and say, hey, I want to do a show there and bring 500 people. On paper, it is kind of unreasonable in a lot of ways. Have I ever done a show for 500 people? No, not in Chicago, not anywhere. Do I have the proof that I can do this? I actually don't. I don't have proof that I can do this. This will be my first time doing this. In a lot of ways, that's unreasonable. The zeitgeist of local music philosophy is you can't do that. I think a lot of people don't believe you could do that. So I have to step into, and even when I say a lot of people, that's me. That's my belief that a lot of people believe that. I'm projecting my own thoughts onto other people. To be unreasonable is to get what you want in life requires a level of unreasonableness. Going live on Facebook every day is a little bit unreasonable. Saying I'm going to do this every day for a year in the hopes that I'm going to provide enough value to people that I will have a loyal following in a year that we can elevate each other. That's unreasonable. People who run like one of my best friends from high school runs mega marathons through the mountains on weekends. It's unreasonable to run 50 miles or 100 miles, but he does it. And so I just want to share with you that the reason you might not be doing what you want to do in your life is because you've decided what the first step is unreasonable, and you don't want to be unreasonable. And to that I say, maybe it is unreasonable, and that's okay. Be unreasonable. Also, maybe it's not unreasonable. Maybe it's a perfectly fine thing to do, but somewhere along the line on a journey of becoming a leader, becoming a success, doing things new, doing things you've never done before, doing things other people have never done before, you're going to have to be unreasonable. Harriet Tubman was unreasonable. Mother Teresa, unreasonable. Gandhi was unreasonable. Gandhi, hunger striking is unreasonable. But he changed the world for the better. He affected a lot of people in really great ways. So I'm going to commit to being unreasonable because I recognize that that's just a story I tell myself to stop me from doing things that nobody else has done or doing things that are hard. It gives me the out of not doing things that make me uncomfortable. The rejection therapy videos are definitely an exercise in unreasonableness, and they've been so fun. You know what? Even when I post like 3-ish videos a day, and it feels unreasonable. It feels like a lot. It feels like I'm going to annoy people. And while sometimes people unfollow and stuff, and I'm sure some people are like, I don't want to see Danny in my feed anymore. Other people are like, it's really inspiring to see how many videos you're making. It's cool to know you're just creating stuff, and people are moved by me focusing on creating on such a deep level. So in the journey of getting exactly what you want, there will be a step or multiple steps that feel unreasonable. And to that I say, don't reason them. Let them be unreasonable. Be unreasonable. What's so bad about that? Yeah. And so then the other thing I want to talk about, the other half of this, I said small steps. I want to do a show for 500 people in the fall. Today, I uploaded the 1-minute trailer of us playing Firework at Radio Artifact to YouTube, and I emailed it to Chop Shop to see if they'll have us play. Small step. I'm celebrating that step. I'm celebrating that step live. I'm sharing that step live. I might email somewhere else today, but the point is the smaller, like almost like the smaller a step. This is like almost the exact opposite of the be unreasonable thing, but it's I, I want to share. I'm pacing like a madman. I'm so full of energy. The thing you want that seems like a mountain, there is a small step you can take today, and there's a way you can check and see exactly where you are. And a small the first step to playing a show for 500 people is get a date at a venue that holds 500 people. That's step one. So what I can do today, so I could either try to email every venue I can think of that could do that and burn myself out and stress myself out over having the perfect emails and like making a list of all the venues that it could possibly be at. And then even like go crazy, like, well, this would be not good for this reason, or this would be not good for this reason. But instead of saying, oh, this one fits the requirements close enough, I don't even know if they're going to say yes yet. Let me just email them. That's one step on the journey. That's one actionable thing to do today to bring me one step closer to playing a show for 500 people. And yeah, it's like just I in my email to the Chop Shop today, it was like, I have brought over 100 people to a bar in Chicago 3 times this year. And over the summer, we're going to be recording new music, releasing new music. And my plan is to make this the biggest party of the year. Make this such a huge event, so fun, so exciting, so interesting, new, unique, special, inspiring, uplifting, entertaining, that strangers are marking it in their calendar. They're buying tickets. They're calling their friends and getting their friends to buy tickets. Can you think of a time when you had to be unreasonable with a friend to maybe get them to go to an event or something? I can think of times in my life where, I can remember being in Columbus and being in a bad place mentally, not feeling good, and my friends like Matheson being like, yo, we're going to this concert. He's like, I don't care. Put your clothes on. We're going to this concert. Put your shoes on. We're going. And he was unreasonable with me. I mean, I was being unreasonable. I was like I'm sad. I don't want to go. And forced me to get dressed, get outside, and go to a concert. And it was a great gift to me. Unreasonableness, here's a cool point to get to. Unreasonableness can be a gift. In a world where everybody is afraid of being themselves, afraid of being a burden, of asking for too much, of taking up too much space, the person who's unreasonable shows the pathway towards being authentic, to being the full version of yourself, to recognizing that your needs and wants are valid. And as I've said before, and I'm sharing, sometimes stepping on people's toes is exactly what they need. It's exactly what they need is somebody to come in and say, hey, you can do this different. Come on. And kind of not take no for an answer. Story time. One time, I think this was a year ago, roughly a year ago. I was playing in this band, and the band leader was kind of a jerk, kind of jerked people around. He had made a lot of promises that did not happen. One of which being that there'd be rehearsals for the first show, and then shows after that wouldn't need rehearsals anymore. Our second show is coming up, and he is scheduling all these rehearsals. And oh gosh, this guy was such a snake. Because I just remember I told him, I said, yo, I'm going to call him Donovan. It's like, Donovan, I need to get paid for these rehearsals. He's like, so you can't do these rehearsals? I said, well, I need to be paid for these rehearsals. And he goes, oh, I always pay my guys for rehearsals. I pay my guys $50 each for rehearsals, which was a lie. I had rehearsed for free for him a lot, and I know nobody else is getting paid. And I said, Donovan, I'm standing on the possibility of getting paid $100 each for each rehearsal. And he was like, what is this? Is this your policy moving forward? I said, this is my policy for these rehearsals. He's like, well, what if we have other rehearsals? I was like, we're not talking about other rehearsals. We're talking about these rehearsals. And he said, are you doing this with other people? I said, we're not talking about other people. I said, for these rehearsals, I am standing on the possibility of being paid $100 per rehearsal. And I basically said, I'm either getting $100 for each rehearsal or I'm not rehearsing. I was unreasonable because I knew I didn't need to rehearse. I knew the music. I knew I was going to sound good. And I also knew that I deserved to get compensated for my time and my skills. And musicians, we don't believe in ourselves collectively enough to do that. And a lot of us give away time. We give away rehearsal time, give away energy and time to people and things, and don't value our time. I was stepping into a space of valuing my time and saying, if I'm going to come and drive out to a space, spend 3 hours with you, like, you got to give me some money. You got to give me at least $100 for that, because the 3 hours I spend at home could be writing music, could be building something that's more for me. This is for you, bud. And eventually he said, all right, I'll pay you for these rehearsals. He said, can we renegotiate this later? I said, I'm happy to discuss details of any other rehearsal in the future. And didn't let him basically use me and not pay me to rehearse. At least that's a really long time. What are you talking about, Chano? What did I say? I can't even remember what I said. Chano, what are you talking about? That's a really long time. At least, are you saying like 3 hours for a rehearsal is a really long time? Yeah, and I don't even, if that's what you're saying, I don't even remember how long the rehearsal was, but this guy was so unreliable. I knew that, like, he always showed up late to stuff always ran late. He was a mess. He was a unorganized band leader, so things would go long, things would be messy and unclear, and he's not like my buddy. I mean, inside scoop, there are people I will play music with for free any day of the week. He should pay me at least $100, right? And basically, I was willing to be unreasonable enough to say, I'm either getting $100 or I'm not rehearsing. And it's not my problem that you're not good enough to do the gig without rehearsing. And it's not, I don't owe you this. You asked me if I could do the gig. I said, yes, I could do the gig. You said, can you do the gig for this amount? Yes. Then, here's the rehearsals. It's like, okay, I can do those for this amount. So there's an instance of being unreasonable that served me, and I'll say it served him too, because right after that phone call, there was an email with all the songs we were going to do, the itinerary for the rehearsal, the expectations. And I don't think he would have been I think had I not said, you're paying me this amount of money to show up there that day, I don't think he would have got his butt in gear to make a plan for the rehearsal so that it could be successful. I certainly felt unreasonable, but I also felt like powerful, and I felt like I knew what I was worth, because I play keyboard very, very well, and I add a lot to bands when I'm there. So that's not something I'm giving away for free. I've been really saying no to stuff a lot lately. This guy called me the other day, and he was like, hey, like, I want to record some music. Like, I know you have recording equipment. And I said, yeah, I'm not doing that. He's like, don't you have recording equipment? I said, yeah, I do. I'm busy. Because I knew, I just got a sense that it wasn't going to be worth my time. And I could have given him a number, but I just didn't even want to do it. Because I would have been like, yeah, it's like $300 a song. I could have said that, but maybe I'll call him back, say, hey, I have time. It'll be $300 a song. But I don't know. Maybe that's a distraction from what I want to do. Point being is, being unreasonable isn't bad. And at the same time, take small steps. And my lofty goal of doing a show for 500 people in September, I took a small step today. I guess I took 2 small steps today. I put the 1-minute clip of firework I made up on YouTube, and then I emailed a venue that would possibly be good to hold it. And recognizing that's James Clear said in his newsletter the other week, average effort for an above average amount of time yields exceptional results. And I love that, because I think there's this belief that people who are successful are putting in above average effort all the time. It's like, they'll, like, you get on, if you're a dude, you've probably seen this on Instagram. I guess maybe a chicks too, but I feel like there's like this like alpha male grind set. If you're not waking up at 5 a.m. and meditating for an hour and doing a 90-minute workout and reading a book and working till 9 p.m. and skipping out on meals, you'll never be successful. I think that's bogus. I think there's something to be said about working hard, and when you work a 12-hour day and you look back and you say, wow, I did that, you can see how powerful you are. But this idea that successful people are working at the expense of everything in their life is a lie. And I think taking one step today is worth celebrating, and it does fuel the courage to take more steps. Yeah, be unreasonable. Like I've been going to the improv open mics, the improv jams at Second City on Thursdays because I'm a Second City student now, and it's an open thing where people show up and then they'll just do different improv games, and they'll be like, okay, let's get 5 people on stage for this one. And there's this feeling of like, oh, you're new at this, don't run up for every game. And I don't run up for every game because I do want to make sure everybody has a turn. But when there's a game that seems like fun, or I make sure I get up there and I do it. And this is a bit of a side. What's been really cool is I've been hanging with those people there, and those people are like, dude, you're really good at this. What improv class are you in? I'm like, oh, I'm in stand-up 1. I'm not taking an improv comedy class. And people are like, what? Like, how are you doing this? Like, well, I have a lot of improv history through music and definitely making videos. And I have some experience, but never really taken a formal comedy improv class. But I think I understand improvisation deep in my soul. Also, just I'm pretty stoked about this. Some of the really talented improvisers who I met, they want me to come improvise with them at open mics, which is so cool, and just stepping into something new. There's another example of where I could feel unreasonable, where it's like, Danny, you're already a piano player. I'll back this up. A few years ago, it felt like when I started taking singing lessons and writing vocal tunes, it felt unreasonable. It's like, Danny, you play piano really well. Why are you trying to sing? Why aren't you just doubling down on playing piano? It's like, well, unreasonably, I want to sing. And I know I'm not as good at singing as I am at piano today, but I want to do this. And unreasonably, I feel like I've got this message I could share through singing. And then even today, it's like, I want to act. I want to do stand-up comedy. I want to sharpen my skills, and like playing it safe is never the right option. I actually don't think I can just like make a website of Danny Bauer, jazz pianist, and put on a tie and say, I'll play standards at your restaurant, because I'll play standards at your restaurant and I'll also scream and smash an egg on my head. And I can't do that. I can't. There are parts of my personality I need to embrace fully, and leaning into learning comedy, leaning into singing, leaning into making videos is all a part of that. So I'm going to encourage you to be unreasonable and recognize that your thought of this is unreasonable is coming from you. It's not other people saying it's unreasonable. Even if you've heard other people say it's unreasonable, that thought comes from within. And 1, maybe it's not unreasonable. And 2, if it is unreasonable, be unreasonable. What's so bad about being unreasonable? All right, friends. Well, stay true to yourself. Love yourself. The best way to change the world is by being authentic and vulnerable. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.